Go.
There's plenty of power coming down in both these boats. I'm expecting this to be an aggressive and full-on start from
lots
both.
of power there, wasn't it? But quite controlled as well, quite steady and low on the rate, but obviously just both crews gripping up lots of power and sending those oars away.
Wairau and Petone.
Well, the umpire straight onto the flag to encourage the crew from New Zealand to get back onto the station. We do often see these crews get pushed out, come away from the Temple Island. They had a few issues yesterday with the steering again today. Just want to get themselves into a nice line and a nice rhythm as they push away from Temple Island now out into the open water. But there's not too many wakes on the course just here.
No, it's a nice patch here actually once you get up the island. Very stable, very leveled out here, and actually as you can see as you get up the shot there, it starts to pull away from the bank, and as we've said before, it gets quite quiet and you can actually get back in the zone and get back into your race. As we get here, we get to the progress board, we'll just see that Brookes have probably just sniffed out a lead here, and there you go, number one just going up at the quarter mile, which just signals that Brookes on the left hand side in the yellow boat taking an early lead over the Kiwi crew on our right hand side in the white boat.
Well, Tom Estradi's in the stroke seat. He's a big man, 98 kilograms in that Oxford Brookes crew, and he sets a really nice strong rhythm. I was talking about Kerry Gowler earlier, how she holds her head really nice and still, looks impassive, and I think it's the same sort of look you get when you see this Oxford Brookes crew. Not really much going on. Slight comparison when you look to the right, and there's a bit more going on, I think, in the crew from New Zealand.
There is just throwing a bit more at it. A lot of talent in there. Obviously the bowman, James Hunter there, 5th at the Olympics in Rio in the lightweight fours. So, a lot of good pedigree in there. But then the Brookes crew, I mean, Brookes are just something else this year in terms of British clubs. They really are stamping authority in terms of what the eights can do. And this is actually the sort of second crew behind their top 8, really, isn't it?
That's right, they got the top 8. Most of these guys were competing in their second 8 throughout the year, but that 8 has been fantastic all year. And this one is a great Henley race. This is what we've come for, pretty much side by side, pretty much out in this area of the course we like to call the Badlands, where you're a long way from anywhere. There's the crowd on there. It's now just down to you and your crew pounding it out, head-to-head racing.
We've got the Badlands and we've got the Bad Boys on the right-hand side there. Do you think they're going to make the most of this? I think they are, aren't they? They're looking a little bit more jumpy. Throwing their weight around a little bit. As you said earlier, the Brookes in that yellow boat looking a little bit more subtle and stable with how they're applying their power.
But I think there is more power coming down from the crew from Wairau and Petone, and at the moment to me it looks like they're coming up towards the four-lead, coming up towards the halfway, and we have a little look there at Dirkus Kondradi in the stroke seat. He stroked a New Zealand 8 to the fastest time New Zealand 8 has ever done of 5 minutes 23 at World Cup 2 in Poznan 2017.
Wow, that's pretty smoky, isn't it? And I think they might just be nipping it. We haven't got that wider shot yet, but they're looking a little bit more controlled there, aren't they? What do you reckon, Greg? It's very nip and tuck here, but...
Well, I can tell you that actually boat number 2's in front because the boat number 1 is facing us, and that's the signal that's held out for that following boat, so they get the information, so they will know that it is boat number 2. That's the Buckinghamshire station. The crew from New Zealand have got a small lead at this stage.
But Brookes don't die easily, do they? They're really good fighters, so I expect this to go all the way to the line. Brookes looking controlled and with their rowing, just drifting a little bit towards the Kiwi crew, but the Kiwis are outgoing and gunning for it fast.
Kiwis really are pushing hard here, aren't they? In some ways I think Oxford Brookes need to respond to this. They look like they're long, they look like they're strong, but the boat's getting pulled out towards the middle. I'm not sure the steering's going quite as well as it should be, and that's not helping Oxford Brookes right now.
Yeah, I was getting a little bit worried there with the Kiwi boat, just drifting a little bit close to the booms, those long, big, chunky blocks of wood that are just marking out the edge of the course there. You never want to get close to those and clip that, because once you do, the whole boat can spin in and you're trapped on it, and the other crew can just sail right past. So they've done a good job to just sneak away there and actually looking, here we are, look, they're looking a bit more relaxed now that they're taking that lead.
Well, we've talked about the steering. You see the rudder bar at the bottom of the shot there. It's a big, long T-bar with the wires attached to it. Makes those small corrections. And we saw this crew from New Zealand. They needed the rudder in the early stages of the race coming along Temple Island. Now they're out in the middle. It looks like it's going dead straight. No need for the use of the foot to make any corrections. The boat moving along nicely.
Yeah, both crews just locking up the water nicely. They're looking looking quite relaxed there in the Brookes boat, actually, to be honest. I think they've probably got more in the tank here, and hopefully we'll see a fiery finish from them.
Well, it is Tom Esterades in that stroke seat, looking impassive behind the sunglasses, just going along, pounding it down, backed up by Christopher Tebb, Ollie Morgan and Barnabas Fox.
And they've
started to move back.
They have, haven't they? They've drawn it back to half a length, and that looking that relaxed is a positive sign. Wind's picking up a bit, isn't it?
Wind's picking up in our commentary box. We've got a few bits of paper starting to go flying, and hopefully the crews will be finding the conditions okay out there on the course. It still looks dead calm, but we see the Brookes crew really now starting to move as they come down towards the enclosures.
This is a great job from Brookes. This is really good. This is just when we need the shot as well. A really exciting patch in the race. We've had a good charge from the Kiwis, and now Brookes staying relaxed and rowing it long. That sort of big Brookes rhythm they always like to say and talk about. We're seeing some of this pay off because they've rowed efficiently and kept themselves in contact.
Well, I think they're used to good, tough head-to-head training. You know, they've got a large squad. They'll have worked on this all through the winter, getting crews side by side, pushing themselves on, pushing on again. And now we see the Brookes crew right at the bottom of the shot, tight to the booms, really trying to push back against this crew that's come over here from New Zealand.
They are rowing it very tight to the booms, aren't they? A couple of feet out from the booms there on the left-hand side there in the yellow boat. Just pulled out a little bit further there, but, you know, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking if you've got the rudder wire and you only got a couple of inches between you and that big chunk of wood.
Well, it's all on now as they're coming down the progress board. This is probably 10 strokes to go to the line. The crew from New Zealand still hanging on. The crew from Brookes coming back at them, stroke by stroke. Here we are, pretty much the same rate, coming in towards the line. It's all on. The whole crowd will be cheering for Brookes. Brookes trying to step up and up. They're coming towards the line. This one's going to be very, very tough to call. I think we're going to have to wait for the photograph. I've got an idea of who I think's got it, but I'm sure we're going to wait for a photo finish. The crews are beside us now. I don't think they know quite whether they've got it. And let's get confirmation. You see that poppy water? There is a bit of wind out there now.
This is so close. Just to the Kiwis there.
So we see it. It does look like it's that win for Wairau and Petone as the heads have just gone down in that Oxford Brookes boat. You can see the effort that's gone in from both crews. There's no time for punching the air and celebrating right now. It's about recovering, taking the boats back to the boat tent enclosure. And as we see them heading off now, confirmation that win for Wairau and Petone in the visitors over Oxford Brookes.